we are her loyal sons. We'll get 'em on the run, boys. We got 'em on the run. Yes, we are her loyal sons. We'll get 'em on the run, boys. We got 'em on the run.
Hello and welcome to a bi-week edition of the HLS podcast, changing stuff around here right now. I'm your host, Ryan Ritter. You can call me ND Tex. And as always, you can find the podcast over on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, wherever you find your podcasts at. Please drop us a review while you're there. And of course, you can join us in Discord. That is our live chat channel, herloyalsons.com/Discord. And we are live here on twitch.tv/herloyalsons. And of course, you can always find us at herloyalsons.com. And folks, as you can see by the screen, I got two people to bring you. I have Shane, as always, and over on the line, we have Jessica Smetana from Sports Illustrated. How are you doing, Jess?
Pretty good. 1-0.
Yes, 1-0. So you're doing good. Question number one.
Mathematically speaking, yes.
Yes. So we're not completely diving off the edge here. All right, so we have various serious topics to talk about that we're going to get to here in a second. Of course, it's bye week. That's why we're switching around the schedule. If you were expecting picks, that will come tomorrow with Eddie, so we will get a little bit more week one preview in there. Of course, we will talk a little bit about Notre Dame. We got Bob Davie coming up right now. And I know, Shane, we talked about this before. Both you and I really were not overly affected by Bob Davie, know of him. Jess, I think even less so. I think when we were talking, you're like, I really don't have any frame of reference from him. Is that about right?
Yeah, he was the coach when I was 4. So, and he was fired in 2001, correct?
Yeah, he was. This 2002 was Ty's first year. I joined in 2003 was when I became Notre Dame conscious. And that's when Ty Willingham came aboard. I can't even speak right now.
I definitely went to a few games coached by Bob Davie when I was like a baby/toddler, but I don't really remember him being any sort of influence on my life or on my relationship with Notre Dame. So I cannot speak to Bob Davie the way that some older alumni can.
Yeah, and I got a theory, and I mentioned this to you, Jess, and I want to float this theory out there because I really think a lot of the angst that exists in our fan base started because of this man. And look, I say this well knowing he's having some health issues right now, and I wish him nothing but a speedy recovery. Everything's pointing to that will happen, and maybe he will even be on the sidelines. Hopefully not pulling the freeze stunt where he's coaching from a hospital bed. I don't think that's necessary. But I really have a theory that because he replaced Lou Holtz, and the idea was to keep the Holtz train running in some fashion, that ball was dropped so hard, and it wasn't recovered with Ty Willingham at all. I really think Bob Davie is like the linchpin of where the angst really grew. And because that transition was so sloppy, everything went to hell. And now everybody longs for those days. And even when you see some of it come back, it's not what it used to be. And there you have it.
Yeah. I mean, it basically feels like essentially the origin of our collective saltiness. Like it's like we've been playing for so long on the playground, and then just some kid came and took our ball, and his name was Bob Davie. And we didn't adjust very well because we never got the ball back. We asked our mom to intervene. It didn't happen. Years went by. We still think about that shit in college, and now we started a family, and we can't let it go. Yeah, that's kind of where we're at now.
Yeah, and as Milfy says in chat, there's some great irony. Bob Davie, now the age where he forced Joe Moore out when he said Joe Moore was too old. Mm-hmm. But the reason we bring up Bob Davie on this bye week is because typically for bye weeks, we call it cheeseburger week. I motion that we call this the hot dog bye week, and here's why. And this was a story that originally floated on ND Nation. Blue Gray Sky at the time echoed it too, and Every Day Should Be Saturday, may they rest in peace, now a Banner Society, picked it up, and here's the story that was told, and this is why we're going to dub this hot dog bye week. During my junior year in 1999, 2 of my female friends from Welsh Hall went off campus to the 7-Eleven store at the corner of Edison and Jefferson. They were shopping for snacks when they heard someone in the rear of the store banging on the hot dog machine. You know the kind, the multi-pronged device capable of cooking up nasty 7-Eleven nostril dogs at any time of the day. Turns out to be Bob Davie, who was having trouble getting the little plastic door open. According to my friends, when his last attempt to open the door failed, Bob slammed his fist against the side of the machine and bellowed, "I swear this whole town is trying to fuck me." So,
that had some hot dogs.
Hot dog bye week. I think it's ever so appropriate. We honor Charlie Weis very often with the cheeseburger comments. I think we can roll with this. How do you feel, Jess? You think we can roll with this?
I just really want that story to be true. I don't like who would make that up. It's way too specific that they're from Welsh Hall and they're at the 7-Eleven and there's the hot dog machine. Like that just seems too like detailed to be completely fabricated. I don't know. I like it though.
Especially the whole town trying to fuck me.
The whole town trying to fuck me.
Because
to a collection of wieners.
Yeah, because 7-Eleven conspired specifically against you. It's one of those where I don't care if it's true. It's so great. You know, I don't think it says anything about Davey one way or the other. It's just hilarious.
It's the kind of thing where I need no fact checking. I want no fact checking.
Exactly.
I prefer it this way.
Exactly. And college football's dumb and fun. So this is dumb and fun. So in the name of dumb and fun. So for those that don't know Jess's work, she does producer. She does some show running over at Sports Illustrated, The Wilder Project, The Most Valuable Podcast. I think I hit everything that you're involved with at SI. Did I miss anything, Jess?
Pretty much. I write a little bit for the website sometimes and do other stuff here and there, but you nailed the key components, I think.
Yeah, and one of the things you did with your podcasting cohort, Charlotte, was you specifically, and it's like the heavens aligned to have this actually work out for my idea of a dumb bit, because y'all over in the off season went to the Arizona Diamondbacks and like sampled gourmet gigantic hot dogs.
Yes, we actually made gourmet gigantic hot dogs with the Diamondbacks. So that was like we embedded with their executive chef as he set the menu for the new season at Chase Field or Chase Park, whatever it's called. And he came up with 3 recipes this season for their 18-inch hot dogs. And they were all just like insane. So we went to Phoenix and cooked all the hot dogs with him. Charlotte, mostly, I was producing the shoot, so I was involved, but I tried some of them, but a little fun fact about me is I'm allergic to gluten, so I can't eat hot dog buns.
And some of that, they had like fried toppings on some of it too. That's all out.
Also, like 90% of the toppings were like mac and cheese, fried fried pickles, fried like just butter. Like I don't know. Like it was just an absurd amount of food. So I couldn't really eat all of them, but I had one of them was the Reuben dog, and it had it was basically a Reuben sandwich on a hot dog, and it was one of the best things I've ever eaten in my life.
That's awesome. A Reuben. My wife loves Reuben, so that sounds really good. But I just love how America in general is steering into like, it's almost like everybody has their own state fair at ballparks now, trying to do something ridiculous. Because my home team did similar. They had the boomstick, which is this like 2-foot long chili dog, which is obscene and absurd. But I mean, you know, and you introduced Charlotte as well to Chicago dogs.
I did, yeah. I took her to Chicago for the first time, and there is now kind of a debate going on of what you're supposed to do with the pickle slice on the Chicago style hot dog. If you're supposed to bite into the pickle or take the pickle off before you eat the hot dog. Curious what your guys' thoughts are as hot dog connoisseurs.
It's on the bun, like it's in there. It should be. It's a topping, right?
Yeah. So look, I've been vocal about my dislike of pickles, but I just went to Chicago for the first time, and that shit stays on the dog.
There you go.
Okay, I grew up in Chicago, and I never thought that the pickle was supposed to stay. I thought it was like they were saving time by just putting it on the hot dog instead of putting it like making a side pickle.
Efficiency. So here you go. Do it yourself.
Right. Like I've always just eaten it separate. It just seems like it's a lot for one bite.
It is. I'm not the biggest fan.
I was instructed to leave it on.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of Chicago dogs. It's a little too busy for me.
Okay.
A lot of work.
But it's because look, I grew up simple Texas boy. Like it was bun, hot dog mustard. That's what I grew up with, and if I got fancy, there'd be chili on it. That was how I grew up. So,
No, this wasn't that strange to me. I mean, Latin America, especially in Colombia, they're pretty known for their hot dogs. I mean, they go like crumbled chips, mayonnaise, ketchup, quail egg, salsa verde, tomato, tomatillo, really. Like they pour it on heavy. So I'm used to that kind of like, you gotta like get it somehow. Like that's the work to me. So like when I get to Chicago one, it makes sense, but I can see what your point. It's a big chunk. It's like taking a solid bite out of a cucumber. It's like that's a lot of that thing right now.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, the chat split too, and Milfy's with Jess, agrees that you take it off, bites too big. Father Sorn, yes, we have our dead founder in here, Jess. Says it all goes into it. And yes, we're leaning heavily into hashtag Stack Talk, but I'm curious, and Shane kind of said like different hot dogs that we've had, famous quote unquote dogs. I've had a Fenway Frank before. That's about as famous as I could get. I remember the first time I took a bite into that, I was expecting just, your regular meat tube taste. Nothing spectacular, but they have something different where it's got some almost like spice to it. I didn't realize it was like this storied thing, like homegrown in Boston, like specific flavor that they focus on there. So it was a little bit shocking to me. They put it, to me, it's Texas toast, but they call it like a Boston roll. It's just a big old piece of white bread. So it's overly tricked up. It wasn't bad there. That's probably the most, notoriety thing I've had. I've never had the Rangers concoctions because I'm not eating a 2-foot thing on my own. Or when I usually just go with my wife, and we're not eating that by ourselves. It's not happening. The only ridiculous thing I had was their like long chicken tender, and we bought it because I went there with my kid and my family. So that was dinner for the family.
Something about eating something called a long chicken tender that bothers me. I don't really. It's just the word long, right? It has to be that.
Don't worry, it doesn't look phallic at all if you decide to pick the whole thing up.
Any type of like long food.
Yeah,
like big, sure, long.
But a long, like you don't see a long gulp at 7-Eleven, right? There's a reason, I'm sure.
Long is just a weird adjective, I think, to describe food in general.
Mouth stuff in general. Anything.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. I'm glad we agree. Anyway, moving on.
Okay, so I mean, anybody have any other like famous hot dogs or differing hot dogs at all here?
Jess, go ahead. I don't even follow baseball, and that's essentially the only place I can seem to find them down here. So no.
I mean, I had a weird time in Phoenix. I tried a lot of strange hot dog toppings, but I think the Reuben sandwich on a hot dog is probably as strange as it gets for me. I've never seen anything like that before. I will say though, at Portillo's, everyone always gets the Chicago dog, of course, but I think one of the most underrated items on the menu is the chili cheese dog. And if you can get that and get some fries and dip the fries in the chili, it's out of this world.
That sounds right. My alley there. Milfy mentioned Portillo's. He lives in Chicago as well. Mentioned Italian beef or the beef combo. So I've never been to Portillo's that I can remember. So maybe I've stumbled around there at one point. Don't remember, but
There's
done
one in South Bend now.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I remember last time I was there. Between the buns was what was around there. Was sad to see it go. I had some kind of. And this was back when I was a manager, so it was weird. You got different assignments for football games, and one of them was basically whoever the lead senior manager that worked right with the coach, the administration side. You were basically that person's bitch the whole time. That was your job. But you got to do like the team dinners and stuff, and you had the special between the buns dinner with the manager. And so I had something that was like nacho cheese and bacon bits or something in there, like actually like cooked bacon chopped up. So that was pretty good, but rest in peace between the buns. I'm not sure if they exist anymore down there, if I remember right.
I didn't know it closed, but that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time if I've seen it there or not. I know there's a lot of places down there that are no longer in existence anymore.
I'm going to take that sentence with me, though. Rest in peace between the buns. I'm going to write that down.
Between the buns had the Smurf thing, right?
Smurf?
Blue, like, not the Clover Quartz, because that was O'Rourke's, but they had the Papa Smurf drinks that were like Wasn't that at Between the Buns? I don't know. Maybe I'm getting my buns
Yes,
mixed
it
up.
was Between the Buns. Yes, and you got confirmation in the chat as well. I forgot about that completely.
Yeah. People used to go there on Monday nights or like Sunday nights for NFL games and just get the big like quarts of neon blue liquid.
Oh man. I miss the South Bend living where the drinks were cheap and oversized.
Oh yeah. You could get a pitcher of Long Island iced tea at CJ's for like $6.
Yeah, if you spent $20, you were lucky you didn't die. And that's even if you were buying drinks for somebody else too. I mean, but speaking of Notre Dame, they're kind of steering into the hot dog thing as well. They have apparently this is a thing that happened last year. They have a Domer dog, which is a hot dog topped with caramelized onion, blue cheese crumbles, and bacon.
Sounds pretty good.
I'm not a big blue cheese fan though. That ruins it for me.
I love blue cheese.
I think you got.
I would eat a Domer dog.
Yeah. So what was that, Shane, with the blue cheese?
I think you got to power through it. It's that kind of thing that hits you hard. It hits your taste buds with a little bit of shock. But once you break through that first wall, it's delicious.
Man, I've never been able to do that. It's just too much of like a salty and stanky ass bite that's right in there. I can't do it because I've seen people like put it on steaks and all kinds of other stuff. I'm like,
oh yeah,
I feel like you're just ruining the whole damn thing right now.
No, it's good. It's really rich. Like you have to. It's like very rich. Yeah. I don't know. When I was eating a salad with blue cheese in it during the Notre Dame Louisville game, and it was pretty fantastic. So
I just can't do that, man. I cannot do that.
It's high risk, high reward, dude. That's just the way I see it. It's like you come in like, I don't know if this is actually going to be shit or not, but then you get through and it's delicious. It's really good.
Yeah. So all right. We got 2 votes for the Domer dog. I would totally have the bacon without a doubt on it. Maybe recreate the Between the Buns meal. Say, hey, hold the blue cheese, grab some of that nacho cheese sauce over there, and just dump it on there, and I'll be good.
Unpopular.
I just want to eat pork products. That's all. Like,
I know.
the hot dog is a vessel for more pork.
It's mostly pork, supposedly. Just put pork on it.
But they're doing something new this season, Notre Dame is. So they've revamped their concessions. It's part of, I think, what lots of college teams are doing now in an effort to get more people to go to the game. So they're introducing Versus Dog. And for New Mexico, they will not have a cutout of Bob Davie screaming at a hot dog machine, although I think that is a huge missed opportunity. But they will have, let's see what we think about this. It's a beef hot dog topped with pico de gallo, green chiles, chipotle aioli, mozzarella, and green onion. I think I was good until we got to the aioli, because I feel like aioli is just let's be honest here. It's mayo, and I like mayo. I don't like it on a hot dog, but it feels like if somebody wants to get fancy, it's like, well, we got this aioli mixed up in here. Like, no, you just got mayo that you threw shit in.
They had me until the mozzarella.
Thank you.
How does mozzarella fit on with pico de gallo, green chiles, and chipotle aioli?
It's like we were gonna make a quesadilla, and then we decided to put a hot dog on it.
But why mozzarella? Why not like queso fresco or something?
Yeah, that would. I like that.
Mozzarella. Like we just went fusion cuisine when they brought in mozzarella. Like you're trying to top a sausage pizza now? What? Why are we doing it? You put bread base, stuff in the middle, and cheese. You just made a weird pizza, dude. I'm sorry. Get that mozzarella the fuck out of here.
I think this is just full proof that Notre Dame is sometimes showing they're a little too white, because I don't think they had any Latinos in there doing, no, just because the cheese is white doesn't mean it's mozzarella, man.
Senor, bring another one. That is not the cheese egg one. Bring it back. That's my dad.
The only other one that I've seen that'll be on there is a Navy dog, and this one is interesting. So for Navy Week, it'll be lump crab sauce with roasted corn, green onions, and Old Bay aioli. There goes the fucking aioli again on the beef hot dog. So now we got seafood on the hot dog, which feels like a crime waiting to happen.
Okay, it sounds like it's jumbo lump crab sauce with I just sounded really Chicago. Jumbo lump crab sauce with roasted corn and green onions kind of just sounds like a clam chowder or like a soup. Like, doesn't it sound like chowdery with corn and fish? Like it's probably a white sauce.
It sounds like a soup you'd get at Quiznos.
Right.
You know?
It's a little creamy to be on a hot dog. Like I don't know if they're adding the toppings after you order it, or if this is sitting pre-made in a aluminum foil package. Like that seems like it would get a little soggy. I'm kind of curious how they keep this one fresh.
And here's my concern. Anytime somebody is doing something fast food and they say lump crab anything, or that they have like a lobster sauce or anything. It's like, you're going to give me a cream sauce that's got no semblance of actual crab or seafood in there. I'm going to get like these little bits, and instead I got this slop that is, you know, basically rundown chowder that I'd probably have a better shot having in a can.
Yeah. So, see, to me, this all boils down to one simple thing. Would you guys be willing to do yourselves a favor right now, put down what you're doing, go to your kitchen, get a hot dog, and just put nothing but Old Bay on it?
Aioli. So we're talking mayo and Old Bay.
Like straight up crab and fish seasoning. Just throw that shit on a hot dog and go for it. Would you do that?
Apparently Milfy will. Only person in the chat that's not completely grossed out right now.
Go ahead, Jess. What's the question?
What else would you put on a Navy dog? Like, I think you have to do some type of seafood for a Navy dog, right?
Okay. I agree that it has to have a seafood component. I'm thinking the fact that the word crab is surrounded by lump and sauce is where things went wrong, right? I'd even take just crab with a K. I'd take that shit on a hot dog and see what happens. And then we can work the rest out. But the sauce, the corn, the combination of sauce and corn is already a problem. And then the whole thing kind of falls apart.
At the end of the day, I'm not eating seafood that's served to me at Notre Dame Stadium.
That's probably a smart.
More importantly, yes.
Look, if you're going really lazy, just call it like a submarine dog. Serve it to somebody upside down and say, there it is.
I will give them credit, though, for trying, because I think they're making an effort. You know, at least they're not just serving like the yellow nacho cheese sauce with the like crappy stale tortillas anymore. So I'll give them credit. This is the first year they're trying something new. Maybe next year we'll get a actual hot dog with a like normal cheese on it and not mozzarella.
Yeah,
baby steps.
I mean, yeah, they're trying. But I like that you said the nachos. I kid you not. I walked down with nachos one time. It had a bunch of jalapenos all over it. And one of my friends, she was from Philly. So I was like, what the world are those green things on there? And I'm like, what? Really? Never seen a jalapeno like on nachos before? Like, I felt like it was completely foreign. Never had that happen to me in my life. It was real funny when she tried one though. So I'm like, it's spicy. Have fun with that. And I forgot to put this on the outline, but we have to talk quarter dogs. I mean, the essential Notre Dame experience. Are they? So Jess, you went there well after I did. I know at some point they raised it to 33 cents. Were they still a quarter while you were around there, or were they increased price?
I couldn't tell you. I have no idea.
What? No, never had a quarter dog. Oh man, there was something special about walking into the huddle at midnight when. So for those that aren't aware, past midnight, the huddle, which is a student convenience store, would basically take these nasty ass hot dogs, put them in like a chafing dish with just boiled water. And you would pick them out of the water just about damn near and be shaking them off, but 25 cents a piece. So your student ID that had Domer dollars loaded on it or flex points, you would just be, especially at the end of the semester where you're trying to dump them all out because they don't carry over. You're just taking trays full of this nasty ass stuff. And if I was going to go to the huddle or go get like late night food on campus, I'm going to Taco Bell. I'm not going to waste my... See, but we didn't have Taco Bell. We had Sbarro in that area. And we were not going to pay. We had to be very drunk to go pay for that stuff.
$15 a slice, yeah.
Yeah, so we had to go. You had to drive to go to the Taco Bell, which in the state when you wanted Taco Bell, you were not going there if you were on campus or even off.
Was it the Taco Bell all the way up on 31?
Yep. That would be the one. It was about a good 20-minute round trip, at least, probably about a half hour when it got busy, when all of our dumbasses were trying to order food all at once. No, now it's right there in La Fortune right now. So yeah, that would explain why quarter dogs maybe weren't a thing, because
I just envision like a communal bowl of disgustingness, like, and everyone reaching their grubby fingers and I just can't. I'm sorry.
It really is. That's actually a very accurate description of it.
That is horrifying.
It was, but when it's 25 cents, you're like, whatever.
When it's 25 cents, I'm like, I'd rather not have to get my stomach pumped later. So I'll see you later.
Yeah, but campus health insurance is free, right? So.
Look, we're drinking Keystones, Natty, and slapping bags. I don't think we were worried about what was going to happen, what we were ingesting at the time. All right, so that is going to be the hot dog talk. That is our snack talk for now. We're going to take a little bit of a break, and when we come back, we will talk week 1 reactions with Jess. Okay, folks, and this is your reminder for those of you on the stream. Hopefully we have an ad. I don't know how this is going to turn out, so that's going to be a great experiment. So download the podcast and see how this ends up sounding, because I'll put a sponsored ad in there and we'll see. But again, for those of you Amazon Prime members, if you haven't and you have your sub available, please click that little button on the overlay. Help support the show. And of course, the little bits to interject stuff into chat. Feel free to cheer and interject the text-to-speech stuff, if you will. Let's get right back into it. Okay, so we didn't bring Jess here just to talk about hot dogs. As fun as that was, and as wonderful as it is, and our kind of brand of dumb, we got to talk a little bit about Notre Dame. So this is, yeah. So you typically get to do a Notre rant.
I'll show you the contract later.
There's a contract. Oh, I'm sorry. You shouldn't have signed anything, Shane. But you know, you get to do your Notre rant. Usually it's 60 seconds on the Most Valuable Podcast. You're going to get plenty more time. And now we have a lot of time to sit and think about Louisville. Shane and I got to knee jerk immediately after the game. But you've gotten a chance to sleep on it. How are you feeling about, you know, how Notre Dame performed against Louisville on Monday night?
Well, I'm very happy that Notre Dame won by 18 points. However, I was surprised by the way in which they did it. I think we all expected Ian Book to have a solid game and the struggles to come more from younger players in, you know, wide receiver roles, running backs, whatever. And it was kind of the opposite. Like Tommy Tremble won the game ball. He had a great game. I don't think anyone saw that coming. Jameer Smith scored a touchdown. But Ian Book looked pretty shaky. And I know after the game, he said that he felt rusty and he just needs to kind of like get back to practice and work out the kinks. So hopefully that's the case. So I'm not going to be too negative because it is the first game. And I do think there is something to be said for playing a Monday night game on your first week. Like they're just not used to that. And it's kind of just funky just playing Monday night in Louisville. And I think, honestly, I saw Louisville play last year. I think it was week 8 against Clemson. And that is a completely different team now. I know the players are mostly the same. A lot of their players were returning, but the coaching change could not have mattered more. Like the team that I saw last season compared to this season was like night and day. So you have to give them credit for being at least, I think they could win at least 5 or 6 games in the ACC. And I think last year they won 2. So it wasn't a complete shit show. I think a lot of people thought that last year's Louisville team was going to either be a little bit better or maybe stay the same, but they were actually a lot better. So you have to give them credit for that. But I do think traveling on a Monday night, you can't really, like first game of the season, you can't really totally make your decisions about everything based on that. But again, it was interesting for a number of reasons.
Yeah, I think interesting's a good term for it, because I think everybody agrees. Book and Brian Kelly, he's not going to beat him with a shoe, which was, I thought, a very funny BK comment afterwards, because I think year 1 BK might have considered it. But now Shane posed this question to me, Jess, kind of when we were going back and forth about this. Does the performance Monday change your opinion about, Notre Dame? Are they going to win the same amount that you thought preseason? Now do you chalk up another loss? Is any of that changing based on week 1?
I will say losing Jafar Armstrong, I think, has more of a influence on that answer than what I saw week 1 from I don't think Brian Kelly really put that much tape out there. I think they were kind of trying to win the game and not give anything away. It was pretty safe play calling, offense and defense. And I think that they're probably trying to kind of just get to Georgia week 4 and then kind of save some plays in their back pocket. So I can't really say from a play calling perspective, but like from a personnel perspective, like losing Jafar Armstrong definitely hurts. And I think if he's out until after the second bye, I can't see them losing maybe an extra game in the first half of the season. they're just, again, it just depends on who steps up. I don't think I'll say, like, I don't think I can completely say just based on the performance alone that I think it's a worse team, because I do think there are, like I said, factors that influenced why I think that game was a little weird that won't be the case in like 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, and it's we obviously knew Jafar was hurt. We didn't know how bad, and yeah, it seems like a lot of the Louisville game plan was going to be centered around him, so they had to scrap a lot of ideas at first. But I mean, yeah, Shane, I don't know how to take that news yet. How are you taking it? We haven't gotten a chance to talk yet about that.
Jafar.
Yeah, as far as now he's out for a while, for sure. Georgia, which is the big one. So Jess brings up a good point there that now we got a whole new thing to worry about.
That obviously they expected in the absence of Cole Kmet and Michael Young, I think they expected to run a lot of 2-back stuff, specifically centered around Jafar being the lead back. Because I think, I mean, as good as Tony Jones Jr. was, they know he's not the speed back. He's not. Essentially, the pass catching game out of the backfield was nullified. It was essentially scrapped outside of Jameer Smith. But I mean, again, you're leaning on a freshman. By the time you get to Georgia, you can no longer do that. So I think that is a concern. But I guess on the flip side, I'm also still thinking like we just saw this team, kind of show up slow, and I'm not surprised by that. But we also saw things like that show signs of maybe being better than we thought. Like the tight end position has a good backup in Tommy Tremble, and we saw Cole Kmet on the sideline on the travel team. Like this dude, I mean, he came back from a high ankle sprain in like 4 days. I mean, this dude's an animal.
He's Wolverine.
So I mean, there's a possibility there. I mean, you can't rely on people coming back from injury, but I think the idea now is that the onus is much greater on Ian Book being consistent and locking his shit up. I mean, I know he, may have beaten himself up after the first game, what have you, but what we need to see is that same thing that showed up in the second half, is where he kind of like, yeah, they were definitely holding their playbook back. You could tell because everyone can see Claypool standing right there. They barely went to him. I mean, relatively speaking, you can tell they're withholding some stuff, but he needs to work within that limitation and like be consistent, be, the guy that is good at calming himself down and focusing and wheeling and dealing. I think Ian Book now carries, I mean, not that a quarterback at Notre Dame can be given more pressure, but he carries, I think, more pressure right now for the next couple games, or the next game and Georgia specifically.
Yeah, and of course everybody's already looking ahead to Georgia. I mean, as far as when Jess, when New Mexico does come up, are you thinking that's going to be enough with the bye week in New Mexico for Book really to get his head right, or based on what you saw in Louisville, or are you really concerned that, okay, that's an easy way to kind of get back on track, but then when Georgia comes, oh shit, here we go again?
Yeah, I'm definitely more nervous about the Georgia game than I was before Monday, but I also was already pretty nervous about that. I mean, they're like a top 3 team in the country right now. There's no getting around that, so I'm still just as nervous. But I do think that I lost my train of thought, so...
Well, that Book seemed to lose his train of thought as well a few different times.
Oh, I remember what you asked me now. So I do think that having a bye week next week will help. One thing that Urban Meyer said, I don't know if you guys watched the what was it called? Noon kickoff, big noon kickoff or something.
It's Brady Quinn, please save him. He's surrounded by assholes. Yeah.
it's Brady Quinn, Matt Leinart, Reggie Bush, and Urban Meyer.
Yeah.
But I watched a little bit. I was kind of just curious from a professional standpoint what the show would be like, and
we know Urban you love Meyer, Brady, Jess. Professional standpoint.
Okay, I'm not going to pretend like I didn't also watch it because of Brady Quinn, but I did want to see what the show was like, but also Brady Quinn. But one thing Urban Meyer said that I thought was interesting was obviously they had the Ohio State game on, and he was talking about how if he was Ryan Day, he would have Justin Fields go out there and just like throw a 60-yard bomb down the field just to like first play of the game, get the kinks out. Don't worry about coverages or personnel or anything. Just let one go and like kind of loosen up a little bit. And like, I feel like that advice would have been useful had Ian Book been given it. Like, I feel like if they went out there on that first drive and he just like let one rip and just kind of was like, fuck it, I'm just going to chuck one out there. Like his nerves maybe would have settled down a little bit. Cause I don't even know if he had a pass on the first drive, because I think they ran the ball like 8 times and scored a touchdown. And I'm not saying that they shouldn't have done that, because obviously scoring a touchdown is important to winning the game. But I do think that that might have kind of like built up a little bit in his mind. So then by the time he had to go out there and actually make plays with his arm, because the Louisville defense adjusted to the run game, he was a little bit more apprehensive and kind of like nervous and maybe in his own head a little bit.
Yeah, because
maybe he knew something, because the one time he threw it downfield, he hit a girl in the face and broke her nose.
Damn it, you stole it from me. Yeah, which sounds like and my favorite part of the whole thing is not only has she like gotten a DM from Ian on Instagram about it and saying it's not a big deal, but Adam Amin is like rooting for a chick flick love story, romantic comedy to come out of this.
Calling it rom-com shit. I'm like, okay.
But it was,
apparently she said she broke her nose.
Yeah, she said it was broken, and I knew because as soon as when she threw down her pom poms and covered her face, I'm like, oh yeah, she is broken.
Matt Fortuna on the Shamrock was saying that he was standing on the other end of that side of the field, and then he heard the O and assumed something happened after the pass, but then about 20 seconds later, she walked right past him, sobbing with blood just flowing out of her face. Is what he said.
God.
So it was bad.
Yeah, my favorite part about it was ESPN, because the booth did not have their best game. They were tired too. They were in Monday Night Weirdness. They thought the crowd was
third game in like 4 weeks.
Yeah,
or 4 days.
4 days, yeah.
But they were booing. They're like, well, that wasn't intentional grounding. They may need to learn the rules. I'm like, no, they just hit a cheerleader in the face, dude. They're booing Book because he just wrecked her.
I don't even think they were booing. I think they were all just going, oh! I genuinely think that's what it was.
Oh, yeah, that was funny. So we haven't talked much defense yet, but I got to know, Jess, how far are you on the Kyle Hamilton hype train? Are you on board with, I think, about every other Notre Dame fan?
No, I'm the conductor of the Kyle Hamilton hype.
All right.
That's right.
He just looks like he belongs on a football field. Like he has that like when you watch Alabama games or Clemson games, you're like, oh yeah, that guy. Like, yeah, that guy. That's how I felt. And like, not that there's not Notre Dame players, I definitely felt that way about like Jalen Smith and, some other guys, but Notre Dame doesn't always have those guys on the field in every play. So it was nice to see that in a true freshman.
That dude's closing speed is something else, man. He's got like 5th-year senior closing speed. That dude is just a natural. I mean, I already waxed poetic about him last time, but I'm genuinely excited, and I feel like it's important we constantly mark our memories of this kid, because it's going to be something that we're going to be talking about 3 years from now. Remember that first podcast where we talked about him?
I'm just happy because I think the Jalen Smith comparisons are apt. He seems to be able to cover for people, and you can plug him in to make up for shortcomings, especially with the young linebacker core, because they used him like that against Louisville when the everybody couldn't defend an option to save their life. I'm just glad we don't have a BVG to ruin him, and we got Clark Lee instead at the helm. Thank God. But yeah, I mean, as far as Notre Dame stuff, I mean, I feel like that covers it. Unless you got other thoughts or hopes for the season, Jess, that you're thinking of.
No, I mean, I don't know. I guess I'm happy there's a bye week, because I feel like it helps you kind of like dip your toes into the stress and anxiety that you're gonna feel every week till January, hopefully. And it's like you get to dip your toe in, you get out for a weekend, dip your toe back in for the New Mexico game, and it kind of priming us for the Georgia game. So
yeah, I got my kid's first blast ball game coming up, two games this weekend, and family coming into town. So this bye week couldn't be at a more perfect time, especially with the Monday weirdness.
I was gonna say it's like a perfect storm, much like Hurricane Dorian being the perfect physical storm and then perfectly missing us. You get the perfect. Oh, the season starts, and then after it's so weird and we all want to shower, we get a perfect week off. It's like everything just kind of. I've never been one to be like, oh, early week bye weeks. Why that? No, I don't ever question that. But I've never seen a more perfectly timed week 2 bye week than this one.
Yeah, it's nice to at least get our bearings back again. But I mean, week 2 is still going to have some nice football going on. Particularly nice with the number 6, number 9 matchup with LSU at Texas. Texas A&M is going to be heading over to Clemson, Jess. I know for those that aren't aware, she was originally at Clemson before she came over towards Notre Dame. But I mean, are those 2 games, or are those the only things you're looking at, Jess, or is there something else that catches your eye as far as week 2 goes?
Army, Michigan.
Yes.
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 I don't know. It could be interesting.
Could be. Although Army didn't look hot.
I didn't want. Who did they play last
they
weekend?
played
They won
Rice.
14-7.
Oy.
And they were
against-
favored by 22 against Rice, and
Hey,
that,
against Rice.
Michigan was losing by 7 to Middle Tennessee last weekend.
Oh, I was
so-
there. I love that. I love that moment.
the
I was
first
there
play
on Twitter.
fumble that
I was there on Twitter reminding everybody.
that did thanks to me.
I'm just excited. I mean, as a former military service member of the Army, like this is like an extra. I get to pretend to be a second fanboy. So why not?
Absolutely. And honestly, I mean, that game against Rice runs a very slow offense as well, which I should have known a little bit better. So that game just turned into slop, and really, Army's going to be happy with getting a lead and sitting on it. But I am looking for them to cause all kinds of fits because, as has been referenced on this podcast before, we all remember Army going over to Oklahoma and gave them their biggest scare of the season in that wonderful game that we watched live on Twitch on some dude's TV through his phone.
Extremely illegally as a team.
Oh, it's so great. Somebody's going to do that with an ACC network game. I just know it. Somebody's going to get banned from doing that.
I'm going to share my Hulu account. Apparently, it's on there.
It's on PSView as well. My cord cutting has worked successfully for my football season. I'm looking forward to that as well. Some of the other games, God, especially that noon slate. It's going to be a whole lot of. I'm glad my kid's got a little pseudo baseball game going on. I don't think I'm going to be missing. That's a big window of opportunity there.
I think I'm gonna miss every game this weekend.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, I'm gonna be on a work trip in sunny Cleveland, Ohio.
Yeah, anything
Yay.
you can actually tease, or is this all like undercover until it releases on SI?
Well, it's a secret until Sunday, so I will not say anything tonight. But I will say that on Sunday I will be at a Browns tailgate. So
Will Baker
Oh, yeah.
Mayfield be shotgunning a beer at that tailgate?
I don't know, but people wearing his jersey definitely will be.
Yeah.
The White Claws will be flowing, right?
I hope so.
Is White Claws out a thing? Is that a thing that we should all
Claws
start
out?
saying? White Claws out?
I don't know. Should we start that?
I feel like that's appropriate, is it not? I mean, most of us are white and we like White Claw, so we can just White Claws out.
I know there's what is it? There ain't no laws when you're drinking claws or something like that.
Yeah, no, that some dude at a liquor store tried to buy some White Claw. He didn't have his ID because he had lost it. And so the guy behind the counter tried to do him a solid and scanned his own ID and said, "Ain't no law when we're talking about the claw." And as soon as he did it, the cops came in and arrested him.
Is that true?
Apparently. I mean, I'd have to.
Oh my God.
I'd have to dig in, but from what I've seen so far,
That's
We'll see.
beautiful. That is absolutely beautiful. God,
Yeah.
there's so many wonderful things. I wish to be
the
young
internet
again.
never ceases to give, you guys.
To be young again and to have like I said before, and I wrote about it too, having a Four Loko version of a hard seltzer. Maybe I may even not have survived if I was in college right now. I would have something stupid on Twitter. There would be a bad tweet or a drunken escapade of me floating around social media, being on said Four Loko.
I would have gotten a DUI on a scooter. I'll tell you that much. That's just too convenient. That's just a trap. That's a trap waiting to happen. Fuck that.
Yeah, and so we're gonna do Night's Watch on our recap of week 2, not night 2.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. So that will be a thing that we do a little bit later. But Jess, I want to thank you for coming on the show. Definitely appreciate it. Especially the wonderful. The chat was most active during the snack talk. That just y'all are our kind of people. What can I say? It's awesome. But thank you for coming on, Jess. But let people know where they can find you on Sports Illustrated, social media, and all that kind of good stuff.
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter, Jessica_Smetana, Smetana. Instagram at Jessica Smetana. I have a podcast. We're currently on a break, but we'll be back hopefully sometime this fall, so you can catch me there.
Yeah, it's a solid listen, folks. Try to put it in your rotation. I enjoy it. I feel like if this was reverse because they do explain. explain to a youth explain or something like that. I kind of forgot the segment name. It's like
listen to the non-youth. Listen to him.
I was gonna say there was a joke I had set up because I'm like, this is the inverse now. The youth is explaining to us.
Ryan's an old now.
I really am.
You guys are explaining Bob Davie to me, and I'm explaining White Claws to you.
There you go.
I have seen her on White Claws live, so I'm glad we got to do podcast audio where my dumbass didn't screw it up and forgot the that, hey, it's windy. Maybe you want to put a pop filter over this and windshield. I'm surprised that audio is even remotely usable, but much better this time around. Live and learn. Jess, again.
I still try to pretend that day never happened. So
the tailgating was epic. It was great. The brisket was good. And I enjoyed getting to meet a lot of Irish fans. I enjoyed getting to meet you and met Mike Golick Jr. as well. That was awesome. So there's a lot of good things, but yeah, like so many of my Notre Dame experiences, it was great up until that ball kicked off, and then things happened. But I want to thank everybody that joined us live over here on twitch.tv/LittleSons. Of course, you can always catch us podcast form, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, Spotify, wherever you find your podcasts at. Join us in Discord. That is our live chat channel, herlittlesons.com/Discord. And of course, you can always find us over at our home at herlittlesons.com. Until next time, folks, enjoy those hot dogs. Enjoy the bye week. Go Irish. Have a good one, y'all.